I am not a financial advisor. These videos are all meant for educational purposes only. All complete Trader Academy videos are my personal opinion and perspective. Trading carries a high level of risk, and all results are your own responsibility. Please always demo first. Hey everybody, welcome back to C3 Review. Today is April 14th, Monday, 2025. I hope you had a good day, good weekend. So as we said in the last video of Friday, I made it just because I wanted to show the algorithmic delivery, but give the example of possibly popping up here and then selling back down. Now, we did gap up here, and then we did sell off right underneath here, literally a hair below this daily gap, and then that's an old weekly gap here. This is obviously from Friday right here. And then if we keep going down, then that's another story, but logic is coming up and then coming back. We did exactly all that, but they did it in a dirty way, which was gapping up. So as you see, they gapped up here, they shot right to it over here, and then pushed down for sealing some of that gap, and then they bullshitted all the rest through Asia and London, and then 9:30 reversal as we swept that original high of the open when it was made, and then came back down to to wipe out that liquidity that was easily built in the Asia and time and all that, and then seal the gap, and then perfectly nice down here. Sitting in the gap at the 50% mean reversion is kind of like where we're kind of being, and we'll see where we go from there. But real smooth day if you had the right bias. Let's put it like that. Got to make this video short, so let me just kind of fly through it. You can see at 9:30 here, we pre-9:30, 9:28, whatever. You can see that we just swept that high. So the logic is that as we gap up, we know that there's the empty void of no zero price action, right? The thing is that we have an opportunity like this, same thing here. When this happened on March 23rd, we gapped up and we just kept flying up. So they were trying to impose that, but with already coming in the gap there, and it being literally no offering of trying to buy here, people want to buy in here to come up. It's logical for it to come down. That bias did stay strong, so that's why I'm literally telling you the day before. So as far as all this extreme goes, I don't know, right? But this movement, very clear. I made it. If you watch it, and there's only 16 of you, so not really inspired to do any more videos, to be honest. I gotta get stepped up or something. But for ones that's watching, appreciate you as well. But you see, we're 50% here of the gap of the daily is the same as the opening range gap. They're literally laying on top of each other. It can't get any more clear than that. And then the midnight level was very key for me. And you can see the midnight level is in this is yellow in the background. It's orange, but it's right next to the 25% of the opening range gap and the 25% of the bearish. Not the bearish. Don't think this is the. Yeah, this is gonna get a little confusing here. The 50 the quad levels are in the background here, right? Of the gap in the purple. But I'm just here. I'm just it's just a big. I don't know why I did it so big, man. Come on, I don't want to make this video long. Let me just shorten that up because it doesn't need to be that big. You see that? So I'm just measuring this leg from the low to the high to get the projection down here. So that frames the understanding as well. So we're reversing and we're literally sniping that, right? And I'm going to show this because of the fact that I said it again on Friday. But the thing is we were looking for buys on when I mentioned on Thursday's video, we mentioned that we were looking for buys on Friday, and we ended up buying at the end of the day. But we want to be a buyer. We're not going to be a buyer up here is what I'm saying. It's 9:30. Why would anybody want to buy right here, right? So they're coming back down to also entice and offer people to get back into. Otherwise, this is a sell. This should be. I'm looking at this as a dump and a pump at minimum. Majority of the time we dump regardless of whatever we do anyway. Do the back testing, and then this I knew was going to be a sell by sell, and you'll see why in the trades that I took. So here, sniped this thing. This thing came up, took them out, and then 9:30 literally jabbed right inside the top of that blue candle's wick. Very, very, very specific. I've mentioned this in previous videos. So just a rejection wick, literally gonna not go any higher than that. And then where is the confirmation in that? Well, we get this beautiful candle that wicks and then closes here. Then we whip back. See how we whip back and come right back? These are all lower highs. These are all entries. Coming to where is my target in this? I don't need to be, so even when I give you the big macro picture of the structure on the previous video, I only need a piece of the understanding of the even direction, right? And it doesn't even have to be the whole thing. Obviously, I'm not a swing trader in this case, but the logic is still there, right? Even if we weren't going to keep selling, and we were bullish here, right? Again, I need two reasons to be selling here, because I expect to buy down here if I'm gonna buy. I'm not saying I'm going to, just talking. So that's the logic here, and this is a fake move. Very, very obvious too. This was very obvious. Overbought here, came down. Look at where we're tagging that midnight level first. Don't get lost in all this. This is my stop loss. And it looks ugly here because the indicator, it's weird when you highlight it or you click away. It's fucking whatever it does. But so that's the midnight level, very specific. That's the 25% of the top gap, right? Very clear. And what's that right there? Over here, this orange. Oh, that's the top 25% of the big ass opening range gap. So for me, this is a minimum target. If we're bullish or bearish, it doesn't fucking matter. Come in here, perfect. Squeeze it out, beautiful. Got liquidity here. You see the gaps empty here, and everything laying on each other. So we might even consolidate for a while around these levels. I don't know this week, whatever. So beautiful. And again, you see the big whip backs. That's just a very obvious sign of how beautiful this sell is in going in its direction, right? Order flow. So next trade. Well, not next trade. I took a couple other trades, but now that we end up coming down here, again, that's that area here, and then you can see the projection here to 101.5. You can see the 2 to 2.5 right here. If I did this area here on the chart, right? So I have that projection and I understand this big projection. Okay, so those are different. So the next one is just like right here, right? Just the candle, that last 15-minute candle plus a little one. It didn't matter. It's semantics. It's whatever. But so what was that? The first imbalance was in that candle here, the 31, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 935 candle, and then we pop up into this bearish imbalance, and that's when I got out here, tried to fucking catch this bastard for a leg more down because I was securing profit here. It's Monday. I'm already slower as normal. Mondays are for me, and then and then it wouldn't even let me in. It was by the time I made the decision, it whipped in, and it was kind of already low, and I was like, nah, I'm good. And kind of missed it, rolled right down the rest, and I'll get them next time though. But coming where? And then we got the 50% back again. We got the 2 to 2.5 right here, and then we get some drives here. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, these double bottom here. You can see very clear. This is a buy. This I sniped this right here. Took it just up to here. But why? Because this is move 1. Move 2. Why are we doing move 2? We're coming up to wipe out easy sellers. And to be frank, this was fucking easy. It literally was just so perfect and whipping for you that like you knew that it was coming down. And even you could have put a sell stop right there and rolled right through. And I was gonna do that, and I was like, nah, I'm good. Let this thing play out. And then sure enough, tried to take this buy at first, just being antsy, and then took a loss, and then again dirty. See, the direction is right, or the understanding is right. I know where we came into here, so let's move 1 down. If this was easy selling, they're gonna come back up to wipe out those sellers. I talk about this every day. So guess what? We get this bearish imbalance, and then we get that one, and they act like they're holding here, and then no bodies here, but there's just being time distortion and suspect. They're really just making higher lows, and you can get in and take the legs up to squeeze the sellers. Look where it came right to that first imbalance. You can't miss that. And the bodies are pretty much just sitting there, just nice sell, fake sell. They're just doing drives up because from the lower low to the lower high, they did this real dirty. And this is to show you why I took this. This is just gangster shit. Just so you know, right here, taking this trade right here to here. This is very. But the problem is, this was. I'll get to that in a second. I want to explain the rest first, but you can see we jam right up. Look at that. Look how it's holding. At this time, I'm measuring the projection from the swing from there to there. I also did just the wick, and that would explain how, getting into here and then even catching this sell. But if you take this sell, the thing is that you got to take that profit because it has a chance of coming back up. And you don't need to find out. I don't need to be right to come in here either. As you see, I don't care. My goal when I'm coming here, I need that 1 trade, that 2 trade, maybe that 3 trade that is logical in the sequence of a sell by sell day. So the first sell is the option move 1. The retrace is move 2. Look how they did the retrace. They did it early. Look at the time is very, very, very important. We actually started retracing quickly, 9:50. We pushing back up. It's 10 o'clock. They're still dragging it back until almost London close, and then by that time they're done with their buying. But here's the thing. Again, these were sloppy. Wasn't holding, but usually when you make a move 1, move 2 can come up and move 3 can come down. I would have loved for move 3 from here to just keep going, but hey, they're not going to let you let it be that easy. So you start to see them fail, and then they're pushing up, and they're basically just trying to do 3 drives here. Fucking dirty. So that's drive 1, drive 2, drive 3. Very slight, but it's the logic is still there, and you're getting up in here, squeezing more of trying to inch up right next to this high. See this high right here? This little wick right there on this imbalance candle, the middle one. See, if I drag that out, look how they don't take that out on purpose. So this is a signature of a control of price where because if it was to go any higher, this is going higher, right? This is like literally the last resort in my opinion. And you also have the inversion imbalance right here. It's just tagging it underneath of the bullish. But if you look at the 15-minute real quick, you'll see that last 15-minute up candle. See how we just digged in it? You can't miss that. So this is logic. And why am I saying, how do I know it's a sell by sell? Instead of it being a dump and a pump going through, I knew the confidence of taking a sell again, coming the direction is not only because I have the gap, don't forget that, but number 2, we broke structure with this drop. See this when we broke here, look on the 15-minute, we broke that low. So that's a higher low and a higher high and a lower low, right? So that's why I'm taking the trade out here on that first trade, because just in case it does buy, it could easily buy here. I understand the probability of me not being also right, but it would have to literally do a certain thing to change that idea, and it didn't keep buying here, right? So this is why I'm taking it to that midnight level in the first place, that first trade I'm talking about. So anyways, let me go back to this. So real quick, so we got a break here. So that's a break. If that's a break and it's a lower low, we're coming up for a lower high, but they're making it dirty. Okay, but the logic is still in play. But let me tell you about this trade. So we're playing around inside the first imbalance right here. You think it's now bullish right here. And for a moment, I was like, yo, this thing's buying, day's over, because I'm not in it and I'm not buying here, right? But the understanding of it getting back into that 15-minute wick right here, and it's still being heavy and them squeezing, and then the drives here, the 1, 2, 3. You're gonna say, what about this? Well, you can see a shift here. So we get a lower low, and then we pop up for a lower high. It's inside that imbalance, by the way, of that one that's highlighted. And this was a nice 50% selling right down to the leg for another final leg, and that's what that was. But when we pop up like this, we shift above, and we come back in, that's a higher low, technically. So the higher low is going to push up for, getting into that lower high to squeeze out to the left. You can see the structure. I don't got to draw it. You can see it right there, right? And then this is kind of holding it. But it's just like nothing you want to be involved in. I'm not buying this up here, period. I did snag this, though. and took it up in here. But that was just to take this high and take liquidity and to squeeze up some sort of sellers here, right? Because I understand this is move one and they want to move two to move up. But I'm saying all that to say that I'm not going to be involved with this here. I'm not going to buy it. It's just too ugly for me, too risky for me. Yes, we're at the 50%. Don't forget, I understand. And at 2 to 2.5 right there. Don't forget. So, but I need a better situation there. So deciding to use these type of levels here, right? More external. And then once we squeeze up here, then we get this pin bar right there. See that pin bar, that candle? See that candle right there? That's a pin bar candle. But then look what they do here with these 3 candles here. These next ones. And I fucking sniped. This is some gangster shit right here. Let me tell you, because they couldn't fool me. But I will say that I was like, dude, what are you doing? This is risky, and this doesn't look like it's gonna pan out, bro. And because it should have easily shot up, right? But the pin bar, the body's not going over the 50. I'm already in it. And then you see the candles are just all wicks, and then the only way this trade is correct is if it doesn't take that high out. It cannot take that pin bar high out. Otherwise, this is false. So I stick with it. I make sure the stop loss is in the right spot. Then you get this candle that pushes down and closes. I knew I was good. And this is just like literally not only just experience, but this is more even feeling because I mean, you did have to get the confirmation of that kind of candle. Again, if it wasn't this type of candle, it would have never worked. I don't need my stop loss all the way up here to fucking know that. That's experience, though. I don't get into it too much. But what's the purpose here? Obviously, we break down and beautiful. They try to fan right up into it, and then they hunt all the liquidity that we're obviously going for the sell by sell. This is to prove, to show you that this was that shift. This is that understanding. And fucking even said it the week before. Because remember, if I'm doing this type of flow, well, they gapped it up and moved it here without, I couldn't even do nothing about it. So what does that mean? What's next? It's to fucking roll down. So, and again, we didn't bust through. They could have, but they just wanted to hammer them right there and then quickly come back down for some late buyers of Friday, which you'll see. This is super fire right here, and you'll see that when you don't need to see the chart. You don't need to see the candles. Well, let me do this. You don't need to see it, but I'll show it to you like this. When we came down here, they're hunting down. They are getting these last guys here, but look what's right here. This is now algorithmic. If you look at this whole range here, oh, I have that range. Yeah, because this is technically where we didn't. This is technically the range in this time frame because this wasn't. Was that 50%? I can't remember. But it's not really that important. Let me see here real quick. Close. The point of what I'm trying to share with you is that that first imbalance on Thursday. See that dragged out right here? Look to the right. It's the same level. It's hitting it. Plus, when we side note, when we gapped up, we are also matching. We're matching very similar to this opening range gap here, right? And I was like, remember, I was not worried about the sell here because, but the one moment I was worried about it was because we didn't tag this Friday, not this, this Thursday's daily gap. I thought they would tag that, and on purpose they did not tag it, and that's why I said, hey, shit, I was about to tell you about one of the options about if it's selling from here, and it is right now. So that's crazy. But yeah, so very similar to this opening range gap, but look to the right here. You can see that we dipped down in, getting real close to that top 25% of that range. This imbalance here, this whole area, that's a breakout level. That's the final thing I wanted to mention. We don't bust through clean or anything, but we are going above that high, as you see that, and we're coming right back to it logically for a retrace if we're bullish or bearish, and that's why we're pretty much a seller today. And then I was gonna say something else. So coming down into this retracement from there to there that I'm doing, I'm highlighting this whole thing. You can see 1 on 1.5 right here. So nice target, and I'm also selling it here, obviously because of the liquidity. And I have this projection here, 2 to 2.5. I'm about to roll into it, taking the picture, gets squeezed out lower. Beautiful and just beautiful. And then if you look at the top 15-minute candle, as I said that we were already in this 2 to 2.5, we pushed back up, and then I measure this swing, and we get into a 1 to 1.5 right up here, real clean. Another reason for this sell is because it's in a 1 to 1.5. If it's on a bearish side and it's weaker, I'm expecting the sell to be happening in this 1 to 1 to 1.5, right? So just fire, buddy, just fire, and then drives down. And just gorgeous. Took a lot of stupid losses trying to catch it, but you know, it is what it is. But it still turned out to be a very beautiful day. And as you can see, we end up, I'm taking the screenshot like right there. And then we get these beautiful pushbacks into that imbalance, push back into that breakout level and imbalance, tagging it barely, just up candles. Beautiful. What's this right here? This is the 25% of the opening range gap and the gap of the weekly. Man, beautiful. 3.5 to 4 there, not a big deal. But they're just coming down to seal all this, right? And oh, you can't see it. Yeah, it's right there. Don't get lost in this. You're not lost in this. Very easy. It's not much shit here. So then we squeeze down here. We squeeze down to where we were. And then boom, beautiful buys, but ugly delivery, and wasn't going to be a part of it. I was already done with the day. Want to be done with the day. And beautiful. And when I took the sell, the logic was 11 o'clock was kicking in here to see how it's 10:50. This is the other reason why I'm getting into the trade. I got the time involved. And then I understand that because they did the retracement early to wipe out the sellers early in the day, that the continuation is going to be from 11 o'clock into lunch. And I even told myself while I was sitting here, I'm like, watch them reverse it around 12:10, 12:20, maybe 12:30. And sure enough, they pushed it down here. As you see, look at the time. Now we get into 12:10 right here, 12:11. And I was just like, wow. I didn't expect it to be that easy, to be honest with you. And in some of these cases, but some of this was really shitty and bogus, and so was this. This was pretty fucking dirty. Didn't trade any of this, obviously, but look at the beautiful bounce and the shadiness at 1 o'clock. That's time. It's specific. That's 1 o'clock. That's literally like a specific time that they're doing that. Rushed right back to the 25%. Playing around there and then jump on top of it. Oh, look at that. And then they're just coming back up to the 50. There's your, perfect example of how, you know, what's funny is that they can't even hide this. I mean, buyers and sellers didn't do all that. They couldn't, this is a speaker here, higher, high, higher, high right there, low, lower, low. You can see we're in 50% of it. I mean, I got like two things of 50% right there. Beautiful, come underneath it, and now it's coming down to wipe out buyers. But the move is, this is 1, 2, 3. I caught the 3. You saw me 1 and 3, right? So if I was to be involved here, would be number 4. I'm buying up to wipe out the sellers. This was just too easy. And then guess what? It's coming up here. That's why Mondays have been really nice for like a while, to be honest with me. There was a time where I struggled in some Mondays, but I've noticed that they're just really nice. But because they have to do so much for the week, so obviously their moves are going to be nice and rangy, which is nice. But anyways, you see this here. I didn't even, man, let me tell you, I know this is just fire, bro. Oh, look at the 3.5 to 4 right there. Can you see that? I know it's ugly color. I don't know why it's so faint. It's because all this bullshit in the background. Look where the price went, dude. Bro. Come on. And then oh my god, how long is this video? This is fire. 24 minutes. Look at that. So 3, then 4, or this could be dump and then pump. But guess what? Now this is getting kind of deep. But the buy here logically is still in play. It's still a nice possibility. This is pretty deep. It's gonna have to really like not come any lower. I think, to be really bullish at this point. I expected these 4 hours to slither. Look how they're fanning, like the way they are, very small bodies, and then getting into bodies. I understood that. I'm like, I want to see a bearish body, and they keep trying to put these wicks, and that's just price action. Very smooth though. Getting up here after hits came all the way up here to squeeze these people. Well, what the fuck do you think this thing wants to do after that? it's coming down to wipe out these fucking people right here. So very, very, very smooth and logical. Shit. Again, you can see it dancing around these algorithmic levels. Buyers and sellers cannot do that, bro. So it's phenomenal. Look at that here, just selling off. So I think I've said enough. I wanted to make sure I did, and then dollar here is actually kind of consolidating too at the same time. It's helping us with our pushes down and pushes up a little bit. Go do the research on that. I don't want to talk about it, but here you can see we have some divergences going on here while the price kept pushing up during the pre-New York and all that. And then when we got up here, it was just a sell off. It's just very easy. I can consider this possibly a divergence, even though these were equal highs right here. But for it tagging it pretty much, and then for these being lower highs, that's also kind of like a divergence. It's not like nice or anything. It's not like you don't even have to take accountability, but I do sometimes when one of them will actually be an equal level. So it's kind of like a divergence. But anyways, yeah, man. And then the sell that I took here, as you can see, we got the divergence with Dow at the higher high here. And then you had a lower high here with Nas and S&P. That's why this was something that when I sniped it and I didn't give up, even when I tried to take a loss trying to catch it, I'm making sure I'm still taking the sell because of the bias of everything else I just told you. So that was explaining more detail of that. And then other than that, nice buy here. I knew this was trouble when I took this sell here because they had a divergence with Nas. It was a higher low. This was lower lows, and they fucked the trade up. Whatever, they did that on purpose. They were bogus. Look how bogus that is, though. I mean, look at coming back in and then not taking out that high. That's to show you how dirty that's dirty and manipulation, but experience to know that that's what they do, and that's how you could have took advantage of it. All right. So very wiki there. I don't know, man. Again, I was looking for a sell from here or it popping up higher, and we might still. Got a gap up here. It's going to be I'll be honest with you, it's going to be very tricky. I got done explaining to what I was saying till now, but it's going to be a little bit, we'll see what happens. It's a little difficult, but I'll try to explain something. A lot of liquidity here, though. A little imbalance in here. I still like coming down as a lower low, but it'd have to kind of like do it soon in a way. Well, not soon. Let's say it like that, but you'd have to see that kind of flow down there. Otherwise, it's obviously you can see both sides of the market. You're literally a dead center of the market. The high and the low. We've already made it up here in a blink of an eye. It's just funny. But and then let's see here. And then S&P, obviously same story. So after showing all this, and then let me just go to here. And make sure you back test 2022, man. This is like pretty much very similar situation. So take advantage of that. Spend the whole, do 23 and 24 or 22 and 23. But here with NVIDIA, they gapped up and they did take that high. Remember I told you they'd be inching up here. And then sure enough, they're getting really suspect. They are inching up and then they're coming slamming back down. Obviously with that gap being there. This is an understanding of why we would like to sell back down for today. Does that make sense? So this is also more confluence with the decision of the sell. All right, now we're sitting at the 25%. That's so funny. You can't like make that up, bro. So this is what I'm gonna say now from here. So we got the projections 3.5 to 4. Do they want to? Well. Assuming that my video here is right, that's still in play. I've already pretty much gave two options. Remember from when we came up here, I said we were gonna retrace back to wipe out breakout traders and then buy again to keep going. All right, well we've done that. So that video, if you remember, it's just a video prior. I said that we would buy from here. Possibly, and then come back up to squeeze, which we have, but we haven't came up. So that's so far happened, and now the sell, is this going to be the case? You know what I'm saying? So are we going to do this, right? Or are we going to do, I don't know, maybe it doesn't even come that low, but and then we come back up, maybe speaker here a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it doesn't even, maybe it sells from here. I don't know. Or maybe it wants to come up here. I don't know. But it's semantics at this point. And then to come back down. I'll just do it like that. So I don't, is this going to retrade, come back up to sweep? Or is it really not going to go any higher and we're going to get the previous example I just gave, right? So, I mean, Asia and London are going to be very key, but this is just a very, in normal situations, I would say that it would want to rate up again, only because now that it has this, Asia London can really range out here, take both sides, come up first, right, and then come back down. It's going to be tricky. Hopefully, I'm not saying too much shit, but we're also at 50% of this bearish imbalance, so we want to use this to gauge here. As you see, you see this 50% right here. So when we opened up, when we opened up and gapped up, we came all the way back a hair close to it. So now we're kind of sitting at it. Do we stay underneath? You'll want to use these to see if we come in here and above or below the imbalance and use it as algorithmic flow for direction. And I definitely have said enough. I mean, I gotta be done. So, what am I missing? I have a projection down. So again, the 2 to 2.5. If we're getting another leg down, obviously this would be the next flow. Obviously, that's a black hole too because of that opening range gap, the daily gap, and the imbalance. You see that? I'm highlighting it. Very similar story. And then, that makes sense. We're already kind of down. So, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. Beautiful amount of moves today, buddy. And let's see, what else? We'll gauge this first imbalance here from Thursday as well to see if it wants to stay above it or below it. That would be kind of a resistance area too with that swing high. Yeah, just talking. Other than that, I think, but I don't need to know. I don't need to care. I know I had options from Friday to today, but they gave me the trade. They fucking put the price right here. So it's like I'm already, just sweeping that and have this scenario down here. They're making the decision. It's just like, you're not buying that right up here. So this was given. I mean, obviously, if you're a really good trader, you should be able to see that. And then even this buy, because it's obviously coming back to sweep and get liquidity. Obviously, if I put a fib here from this range from here to here, if we just do some basic shit of basic understanding. Oh shit. All right, see this to this. I'm just gonna put it right here, man. Just to fucking do it. Oh my god. Okay. Look, dude, 50%. We're using common sense there too. Of where was the money, man? Where do they need to take care of? What's that breakout level, dude? Looks like we're coming down, bro. It's gonna be interesting. So I know I've said enough. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, and then I use this projection here from Thursday. I got this last 15-minute candle. Look at 3.5 to 4 is right there, and we gapped right fucking to it. This is another reason of confluence why I wanted to sell up there at 9:30 because we were in it. You see that, right? See that? 3.5 to 4. You see that right there? Can't make that up, bro. It's a lot of confluence to sell. And you're like, well, what about that gap? Wouldn't you want to hit that gap? Well, hey, listen, I agree. And that was a thought. But I was like, nah, they're ready to get the party started. They don't give a fuck about this gap. They've already gapped up here and they already swept it. So it's like it's the same level. So look at the wicks forming on the top. They're slithering. This is nice. It's just a beautiful. Oh my god, just beautiful. What was I gonna say? So I got this measure down. Obviously, you see it here. So if it's either gonna bounce up from this 101.5 up, or it's gonna come back to the 2 to 2.5, and we can discuss that later, or we blow through, But I'm assuming if it's gonna break this low, then they want to come into here, right? I don't think they're just gonna buy from here. But hey, It's a little tricky. That's why I'll wait for Asia and London. I'll let them kind of give me the fucking, when the market starts flowing, what the idea is to see where we're gonna go next, because it should be more clear by then. You guys take care and have a good day. God bless.